Was Doc Brown suicidal? Maybe. Let's talk about it. I'm doing a Back to the Future t-shirt giveaway from RSVLTS. It's a really awesome shirt. If you want to get a chance at winning it, all you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment below. So throughout the Back to the Future trilogy, it's clearly established that Doc Brown is a failed crackpot scientist. He's dangerous.
Now let me give you a nickel's worth of free advice, young man. This so-called Dr. Brown is dangerous. He's a real nutcase. You hang around with him, you're going to end up in big trouble.
Oh, yes, sir.
And until that moment at Twin Pines Mall, he's never made anything that actually worked.
Do you know what this means? It means that this damn thing doesn't work at all. It works! It works! I finally invent something that works!
So there's a theory that Doc Brown wanted to kill himself. After a lifetime of failure and misery, he wanted to commit suicide by the way of his invention that consumed the last 30 years of his life and his complete family fortune, causing him to go bankrupt. And so, Doc stole this plutonium from a Libyan terrorist group. So he may also believe that his fate is sealed and they're going to get him very soon. So might as well take your own life, per the theory's logic, and be done with it. Okay? So he sets up Temporal Experiment number 1. So it's the first time he's tested the time machine. And he decides to put his beloved dog in the DeLorean time machine and let him be the guinea pig. You might wonder, why wouldn't you at least test it without animal trial beforehand, right? But if you didn't think it was actually going to work, then that answers that question, right? So he has himself and Marty lined up in front of the DeLorean time machine and has it travel towards them at 88 miles per hour. Now, so he lines the DeLorean up with Einstein in the driver's seat and sends it 88 miles per hour directly to ram into Marty and Doc. So the question then becomes, is how certain is Doc that the time machine is going to work? Is he 100% certain? Is he 90% certain? Because if he's not 100% certain, he's putting him and Marty in harm's way for absolutely no reason, right? You could just stand to the side and get just as good of a view for the most part, right? So the question is why did he put Marty and himself in harm's way? Was he planning to end his life, take his dog and his best friend with him? If you think about it, right when the time vortex, the door opens and the DeLorean goes inside of it, is Doc like, yeah, that's what I expected to happen? Or is the look on his face surprise? If he's 100% confident, there shouldn't be surprise. Like, yes, he just made a time machine, so there's a lot of emotions happening. But should surprise be one of them if he was so confident to stand in front of the DeLorean? That's the question. Based on the look on his face, he doesn't look that confident to me. And think about this. So Marty obviously is not as confident, and he tries to step away, and then Doc has that crazed-eyed look at Marty, like, "What are you doing?" You know, is that the look you give your, maybe rest assured, Marty, I've done this 100 times. Then there's some other possible indicators that Doc's had a compromised mental state. He mentions that he cut his head on some wet porcelain attempting to hang a clock in his bathroom. I don't know about you guys, but do you have a clock in your bathroom? Have you ever seen a clock in a bathroom? Public restroom? Personally, I have not. So I don't know if is that overthinking it? Maybe. But think about this. So when he types in November 5th, 1955, by chance, he laughs and then recalls that was the day he invented time travel. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. So just because you drew a potential diagram of the flux capacitor, what could harness the energy to make time travel possible, would that mean you invented time travel, or you drew a diagram of what potentially could be built? It's not really inventing time travel. So the question is, and then let's say even if it was, would somebody remember that date so vividly that was the date that I drew a diagram that I spent 30 years trying to make happen and to fulfillment today? Or did that date have a different significance in that Doc was attempting to possibly hang himself, and that's when it broke and he fell and hit his head on the edge of the sink? Maybe. So Christopher Lloyd was asked about this theory, and he said, "I don't think so, because Doc had so much confidence in what he was doing. He didn't worry about that. He knew what he invented, and he was very confident. Maybe a little doubtful, but Doc didn't have a grim nature. He was very positive. He had failures, but he just kept on going." You've given me a lot to think about, though. Bob Gale, the co-writer of Back to the Future, was asked about this theory, and he said, "Doc Brown is so certain that he knows what he's doing that he's willing to stand there to prove how right he is. It's a demonstration of self-confidence, not that he would be suicidal." So I think what it comes down to is questioning how certain is Doc that the time machine's going to work. If he's 100% confident, then he took an unnecessary risk, but he's confident, and that's okay. If he's if there's 1% of doubt, then he's either reckless or suicidal. And based on his expression, he was not 100% confident. So you tell me, guys, was Doc Brown ending his life and just got lucky that the time machine worked, or was it something else?